and welcome to Talking Tent, your favorite podcast about movies and television.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Irma.
Today we are talking about the most buzzed about, the most anticipated movie of the whole dang year, Barbie.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that Barbie was the most anticipated, most buzzed about movie all year for sure. Most since Top Gun, I think.
Well, the marketing was over the top for sure.
Marketing crazy. So it takes like a special thing to be anticipated and buzzed about in today's cinematic economy. It has to be pretty much an existing IP, franchise, sequel. Sometimes it can just be a movie star, but like barely anymore. And then a lot of times now it can be like Quentin Tarantino. Like a filmmaker. And Barbie kind of had two of those. Yeah. So Barbie obviously as like the toy, the franchise, the monolith. Kind of like how Super Mario Brothers was.
Yeah, and
Legos. But then I think Greta Gerwig is now in that group.
Well, I think after this movie, for sure.
For sure,
100%,
after this movie.
Yeah.
Kind of unfortunately, probably the only woman.
No, I disagree.
Because if I'm like Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Jordan Peele.
Oh my God. Well, now you put me on the spot.
Marvel.
But like the Beguiled and Sofia Coppola.
Nah.
What do you mean, nah? She's
Sofia
definitely
Coppola.
a respected filmmaker, though.
Yeah, but it's not like a buzz. Like, ooh, their next film is announced and everybody's pumped. I mean, people are excited for Priscilla, I suppose. So Sophia's on the borderline. This movie was such a weird build. I feel like from the second it was announced, it was like, okay, they're making a Barbie movie. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, I was like, how are they going to do this?
How are they going to do it? What is it going to be about? But then Greta Gerwig is making it. So it's not baloney.
Yeah.
Like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Like we knew exactly what that was going to be.
Well, I feel like she has a very distinct voice, so like you knew that she was going to like try and like make this like a message.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just like a real advanced movie and not just like,
not just to sell.
Yeah. Con, like whatever. I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely plenty of that.
Well, sure. But that's kind of part of it.
Yeah.
And she's just like such an interesting figure coming from, she was the queen of mumblecore for a while in Joel Swanberg's movies and the Duplass brothers movies. Then she moved to the next level, kind of. No offense to those guys. I love those guys. But then she started working with Noah Baumbach more, Frances Ha, Mistress America. Then she made the next step into making her own movies.
Yeah.
Lady Bird, immediately Oscar nominated. Little Women, just like a classic tale that she reinterpreted.
Yes.
And then her third movie is Barbie.
I love it.
And Irma, did Barbie live up to the hype?
You know what? It absolutely did.
It absolutely did.
It really did. I loved every second of this movie. I know this is going to sound really dumb, but I feel like I've never seen a movie that was made for me, like purely with me in mind.
It's a little selfish. It's made for a lot of people.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like,
you felt seen.
I felt so seen by this, and like, yes, obviously this is going to speak to a lot of women. But yeah, I just thought she did such a good job. I mean, some things obviously on the nose. America Forever speech at the end, like, yes, it was so on the nose, so poignant. I feel like I've never heard it articulated like that. And I just like, I don't know, for some reason, it just kind of blew me away. Like, yes, that sentiment has been like said before, but it's just like, I don't know, just the way it was delivered. This whole movie, everything about it, loved it. It was beautiful to look at also.
It was.
And it was funny. I laughed so much.
It was a near perfect movie.
Near perfect. How dare you?
Nothing is perfect. It was great. I talk about it all the time. And I feel like a lot of times on the negative, but then sometimes on the positive, we're like the first 10, 15 minutes of a movie, you can often tell like where we're going. Am I in good hands?
Yeah.
And it was just like immediately like, oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
From the jump, it was perfectly set up. It was perfectly framed. Everything was beautiful.
Well, it knew what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure how they were going to make a Barbie movie. Like, okay, so she's supposed to be a doll, you know? And like, I wasn't sure if they were going to embrace that or just say like, oh, this is a woman. Her name is Barbie and this is her life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like more put her in the real world, even though they like did that. But it was like, I don't know, the way they did it, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very smart making her a doll and all the visual gags of like them falling and like them like just floating because they're dolls and people play with them. And I don't know, I just thought it was so creative.
Yeah, when she was eating breakfast and there was just nothing.
Yeah.
Like none of liquids.
And
Yeah,
everything is so plastic. Like, I just thought it was so cool.
How they established like what her world was and then what the real world was was very inventive. It was interesting. I mean, like they are alive.
Yeah.
And they're aware of the world. They just don't interact with it, and then they think that they solved all the problems, so everything is perfect.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really smart, just like a way to fuse those two worlds and make what happens in the movie like believable.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
she doesn't just like move from a box in a toy store.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
become a being.
Well, it's not
in the
Toy
real
Story.
world.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, essentially, Margot Robbie is playing a stereotypical Barbie. Ryan Gosling is playing Ken, who we have to shout out Ken and his digitally altered abs, because no way that those are real.
You don't think so?
No, they're
those
real.
are real.
It's crazy.
Also, Irma, I don't know if you recall from maybe the episode of what we're most excited for this year, you were skeptical of if Gosling was the correct choice.
I know. I really was.
You admit it.
And I fully admit it. Yeah, I definitely wanted to call myself out on that because he did such a good job. Well, also, I wasn't sure what they were going for. And I think the interpretation of Ken in this movie was spot on. Like, thank God. And like, he just killed it. He killed it. I was so happy he was willing to be goofy and like he was the butt of the joke the whole movie and he embraced that. Like, there's not many people that would do that. And he did it so well.
I don't think there's an actor in the world that could have done what he did in
Yeah.
this movie. Like, I understand it's
also
a
he's,
Barbie
like-
movie.
Yeah.
And we're also celebrating Margot Robbie and all of the women. Like, Margot Robbie was kind of tasked with the unfortunate, like we always say, like the straight man. Like, she was funny, but she
Yeah.
had to carry the whole plot.
Yeah. Well, she had to have an awakening.
Right. And like Ryan Gosling could just be on 11
Yeah.
the whole time.
I mean, he was on way more than 11.
He was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was so good in it. I can't imagine anybody else
I don't know how
doing
they
it.
kept a straight face. I mean, I'm sure
Well, I'm
they
sure they
didn't.
broke many
Oh my
times.
gosh.
But yeah, like the casting as a whole
The casting as a whole,
I
everyone
think
in this
was perfect. Like, obviously, I would keep saying really grandiose statements, but like, I don't think there's been a more appropriate actress in the history of Hollywood to
Yeah.
play Barbie than Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Like, Margot Robbie showed up in
stereotypical Barbie.
Sure,
They had a lot of
the
Barbies.
original Barbie that like you picture Barbie. They say that in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you picture Barbie and that's her. Like, from the moment she showed up in Wolf of Wall Street, you're just like, that is a perfect
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah, she's
And-
stunning.
And also wildly talented that we've been saying for years. Like,
I mean,
she
she's
is,
like kind of becoming like a character actress in
she's
a
number
way.
one, I
No,
think.
I know, but like she can really just like go into like, I believe her as Barbie. I also believe her as Harley Quinn. You know what I mean? Like, she's very good at like embodying these characters.
She's great. Ryan Gosling was great. Issa Rae is always great.
So great.
Michael Cera comes in.
Oh
and
my
just,
God. Alan.
He's
Who even
so
knew? I had no
funny.
idea Alan was ever a Barbie
Right,
or,
they pulled
you know.
so many like real life things
Yeah.
out of Barbie. Who else we got? Who else was great?
So there was like a Skippers and like, I don't know. Kate McKinnon. Yeah, it's Weird Barbie. I loved that. I had a weird Barbie. I had many weird Barbies.
You ruined some Barbies?
My mom was so pissed at me. I definitely cut some Barbie's hair. Yeah.
And
it's a thing that all girls do, I think.
And then Greta Gerwig must have watched Sex Education and really liked it. Because she pulled Emma McKay, who you pointed out a lot of people have always said she looks like Margot Robbie.
I know, and I thought it was interesting. I mean, I think she does have brown hair, but that they didn't give her blonde hair to make her look more like Barbie.
True.
You know,
well, she was like a different Barbie.
Yeah, I know.
And then Nkuti Gatwa, and
he's so great in Sex Education.
Swindles. All three from Sex Education, all wonderful in this movie. None of them doing a British accent. Rhea Perlman comes in.
Nkuti, they gave him like kind of like a gay moment, which I kind of loved. Sure. And I'm so happy that was in the movie. I mean, it was pretty minor, all things considered, but I'm glad it was there.
Yeah, they had a few references also when Ken was walking through the street.
Beating off? Oh my God, that was...
beaching off.
Beaching off.
And when Ken was walking in the street in the real world.
Everybody
was staring at Barbie. He was like, why isn't anybody staring at me? And then there was got a lot of chuckles. What do we even talk about next? This movie was hilarious.
It was so funny.
I had said my trepidation with like the trailers was that it looked like it was very reliant on being very funny. Because like, how effective could the story be? Turns out the story was very good and very effective, but it relied a lot on it being hilarious.
Yes.
And it really was. Like, knee slappers.
I know.
Several knee slappers, guffaws up the wazoo.
Yeah.
You were cackling.
Oh, I was.
Yucking it up. We had a group of girls behind us.
Which I think helped because we saw it Friday, like
packed.
Opening weekend, packed. There were people dressed up and everyone was into the movie. And like, I'm so happy that people, like showed up for this movie, and it just made it like such a more enjoyable experience. It was amazing having like a full theater of like laughter and
I mean, totally different, but like when we saw Scream also.
Yeah, true.
Full theater of like enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And it just made it more exciting. It always does. But the girls behind us were like howling. It was great. Just like the enthusiasm, like when you're at a concert and everybody's singing.
Yeah. And we didn't even talk about Will Ferrell in this movie.
Right. I mean, Will Ferrell also so funny. I mean, he's doing what Will Ferrell does.
Yes. I mean, he's playing the CEO of Mattel, who is, I wouldn't say the big villain of this movie. You are led to believe that he is. But yeah, I cannot believe Mattel was like, sure. I mean, it was very like meta in that way, but they're like, yeah, we'll be the villain. I don't know. It was kind of crazy and also exciting. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of Spawn. They know that they're probably going to make so much money selling Barbies after this movie. And also, speaking of the Spawn, there was like a Chevy commercial in the middle of this movie, which I was like blown away by. I was like, is this
a commercial?
Oh my God, Zach.
All driving Chevys.
No.
But that's like every movie. That
they were doing some like crazy stunts. And then there was a moment where it was like the three Chevys were just like next to each other driving super fast. And it was like, okay.
Yeah, I think that was like the new Chevy electric crossover vehicle that they
I mean, it was pretty obvious.
Yeah. The music was fantastic.
The music was great. I mean, they broke out into song a couple times.
Broke out into song. They had, I think don't quote me on this, but I think every song that played in the movie was an original song.
They had a lot,
Because I think the whole album is original songs.
Which is pretty cool.
The whole soundtrack, which is really cool and doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since they've done that,
But like Lizzo opening it up with like the kind of musical-esque like narration but in song is all just great. And then obviously like the I'm Just Ken.
Yeah.
Absolutely show-stopping moment.
And they have actually been showing that before. I know. Like I've seen that before.
I know. We saw it in the secondary trailer was that.
Yeah. And I was like,
about it.
Yeah. And I was like very like off-put by it, if I'm being honest. Because I was like, what is this? And without context, I feel like it's a little bizarre feeling. So, but in the movie, it was great. And I feel like fully lived up to what it was supposed to be. And
so do we want to run through kind of just quickly through the heart of the matter with the movie? Did it work as like a story itself? So we wake up with Barbie living her best life in Barbie land. And then everybody's seen in the trailer. She says that, do you guys ever think about death? The record scratch. And we find out that the reason that she's having these thoughts is because the girl that is playing with her is having trouble.
Yes,
and
in the real world.
In the real world. So like, as we were talked about how they connected the things, was like all of these Barbies that were in the Barbie land we're watching were technically toys that somebody was playing with.
Yes.
So in this case, then we find out that the one that Margot Robbie's Barbie is being played with is actually America Ferrera.
Yes.
Who took her daughter's Barbies, because now the daughter's like 15, and was just like reconnecting with them because she's having trouble in life, and she's feeling down about her life. They don't really get into why, but just like normal life. Like you have existential crises. You're thinking about death. Your daughter no longer is like enthralled with you as a teenager. Will Ferrell finds out
that Barbie
Margot
has escaped
is in the real world, and it's kind of like a chase to get her back, so she doesn't mess anything up. And then in all that rigmarole, they actually end up bringing America Ferrera and her daughter back to Barbie land. So we actually don't spend that much time in the real world. Yeah. Which I think was
a perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
And then while Margot is in the real world, she sees like that the patriarchy has really taken over. Because obviously in Barbie land, Barbies rule everything. Ken's just do beach.
Just do beach.
Just do beach.
Issa Rae is president.
Yeah.
Like the whole Supreme Court.
All women Supreme Court, doctors. Yeah, everyone. And so obviously in the real world, it's all men who do most of these jobs. Except for one. There was a woman doctor that Ken tried to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. So then in the process of them being in the real world, Ken realizes that men rule the world.
Yes.
And that's like a big plot point throughout.
Yes. So spoiler alert, but Ken is kind of the big bad in this.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, which I thought was a really interesting twist, which I wasn't expecting. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, so he learns that like he has the power, men have the power in the real world, and then he takes that back to Barbie land. And then when Margot's Barbie gets back, he is like completely upended the whole system and brainwashed all of the Barbies, and now the men are in charge, and they do a lot of bits about like really stereotypical manly stuff.
Yes, it's so
horses
funny.
And cowboy gear and then trucks.
The Godfather.
Yeah, there's just lots of bits. Lots of bits about like the patriarchy, lots of bits about women not being smart or capable.
Yeah.
But
needing help.
Yeah.
I don't know how to work Photoshop.
Lots of capitalism stuff with Mattel. I would like to see sales figures of Barbie.
I mean, honestly, it made me want to go out and buy a Barbie again. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't, but
I mean, like before this. So for the past 10 years, let's say, I can't imagine Barbie sales are as high as they were.
Oh, I'm sure.
20, 30 years ago. So like they have to be slowly declining. And then we think it's like, wow, I can't believe Mattel would let them do this. But it's like, or was this the really smart marketing play to let Greta Gerwig make like not just a phony baloney Barbie movie that would like sell to like 11-year-olds and just be like, whatever.
Because this is not a kid's movie.
Yeah, because I feel
that's the thing.
Oh yeah, not even close. Because I feel like Barbie is kind of problematic.
Yeah,
and Greta.
I mean, and
Greta addressed that.
It's like commentary on that, essentially.
Yeah, and also kind of made it okay to love Barbie again.
I know, it's true.
So it kind of is like Mattel. It was their only option just to let somebody really break it down.
Yeah.
So I would love.
I mean, it is kind of amazing though that they did allow that. A lot of companies wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this movie was great. I think it did everything it set out to do. I hope people go see this movie.
Well, let's just get to let's finish with kind of the crying part.
Okay.
We talked about the goofs and the guffaws and the meta commentary that was all funny, but then it does get pretty serious.
Yeah.
And Rhea Perlman is introduced as the creator, Ruth Handler, the creator of Barbie, and it's like a mother figure to the Margot Robbie character. She ends up, America Ferrera, which you already talked about, has this whole speech about how women have to be this and not this, and like this perfect balance of like I saw that you took a note of, was there an applause or was that just in my head? And there wasn't a big applause, but as she was doing it, I was like, when she's finished with this, we're all going to stand up and applaud, right?
Yeah.
I was like ready for it. And then nobody else did.
Yeah. Well, I just think like I was so taken aback by that speech because it
was so well written.
Because I have never heard it articulated like that.
Yeah.
Like it is something like I inherently know, but to like have it be spoken, you know what I mean? Just said aloud was just like so eye-opening. And I think I also wrote in the notes like, so in this moment in the movies, like the brainwashed Barbies, she's trying to wake them up. And this is how she's waking them up by giving this speech. But also like the women in the audience, I'm also like getting weirdly emotional now.
Yeah.
She's like waking us all up, you know, like, I don't know.
Beautiful Barbie.
It's just silly, I know. But like, yeah, it's very on the nose, but it's true.
Yeah. And then Margot's Barbie has like an even greater epiphany.
Yes.
That she would like to be human.
Yes.
And Rhea Perlman in like this
another beautiful speech. I think that was a line.
Yeah.
I just like, I couldn't get over it. Just like mothers stand still so daughters can like make the future or like walk.
See how far they've come.
Yeah. See how far they've come.
See how far they've gone.
Oh, I just thought that was such a beautiful line. I think that's when I started crying.
It was very heavenly in the way that she set it up in like the all white space and the colors. My only nitpick, and it might be the only nitpick I have of the entire movie, which is crazy. When she has the final epiphany of like what it is to be human, and she's like, "You're gonna feel," and they zoom in on Margot's eye, and it wells with tears. But then they do like that whole montage of like people and women and children. I thought
it was kind of beautiful.
It was nice. I'm not saying it was like a bad thing, but I feel like the message was clear enough
that they didn't need it.
Showing all that, like I would have just spent a little more time on just Margot's face and like had her well up slower. And like, because we know what she's thinking about or what Rhea Perlman's character is like giving her.
Yeah, but
and then we could bring our own understanding of that rather than just watching like stock photos or like maybe Greta Gerwig as a kid or random women. It made me start thinking about the filmmaking of like, who are these people? What choice was this? Like, whose choice was this? Was this like a note that people are like, let's hit it more on the head, and then they added it, or was this all Greta Gerwig's idea? But I just feel like in those moments, I like things to be way more simple and just an eye tearing. We know
she cried a lot in this movie.
Yeah, she showed off a lot of it.
I know.
A lot of that cry on demands, unless they're doing drops right before drop action.
Yeah,
you never know. I was thinking about that a few times while watching it because she
cries a lot. I liked the montage. It was like maybe that's what like wakes her up and makes her human, is like seeing those human moments, like a child being born, because she's never experienced that. Like assuming she's what, like meant to be 30, I don't know, probably younger.
Yeah, so. No, I'm not denying that. Like in the theory of it all, just the execution of that one little thing, and I'm being super nitpicky.
Yeah,
but like I almost would have, and if you did want to do the montage, I would have like reflected it in her eye, as opposed to just taking over the whole screen. Like she could have put I don't know exactly how it would work in the filmmaking, but like a screen that Margot is then looking at, so like that it would be like distorted through her tears. Like we know what they're showing. We didn't need to like see it so well. But that was the only tiny thing, and it was still good. I was crying. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to be crying for
Me
Barbie.
either.
We're on a roll of movies that we went in not realizing we were going to cry. Joyride, Barbie, probably cry in Oppenheimer on Monday.
Oh yeah.
Cry of depression. You said it was the best movie of the year so far.
I think so, 100%.
I'm probably there. The only competition that's even close is Across the Spider-Verse.
Right.
So that's 1 and 2 pretty easily, and I can't even really think of a third.
For me, Joyride.
And then like we don't count what was already in like because a few things we saw like January, but that was already kind of Oscar contenders. Like February on. Yeah, I think it's probably 1A, 1B with Across the Spider-Verse. Really a fantastic flick. Like shockingly good.
Yes.
Go. Well, we just ruined it for you.
Yeah.
But if you've seen it, comment below on what your favorite gag, your favorite moment. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be doing this for Oppenheimer. That'll be coming out soon. And then we'll be posting some special YouTube stuff. We're thinking about ranking all the TMNT movies as the new one comes out. We're good. We're working on a month of Brad.
We'll see.
So look forward to that. We're going to talk all the bracket of Brad Pitt movies. You can find us having extended conversations on everything we watch, television and movies, on our podcast. Wherever you find podcasts, Talkin Tent, it's the same name.
Yes. So from our living room to yours, what do you want to watch?
It's Barbie, if you still in doubt.